The station where our veterans' voices are heard. MBR Talk.
Hey, thanks for supporting our channel by watching and listening.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Desde Brooklyn hasta el sol del Medio Oriente, José Flores con fuego en la mente. Raised in the Bronx where dreams don't sleep, donde el hambre te enseña a resistir. Section 8 life, no handouts, no cheat. He built his power from the pain on the street.
Cada golpe, cada lágrima caída fue el fuego que encendió su vida. Ahora camina con propósito y voz. José Flores, hear the noise. De la calle al combate, turn his trials into faith. Con disciplina y con fe, now he rises every day. From the black to the world sin temor.
You ever need a haircut?
So
that these kids can learn how to play instruments or want to, not just learn, but want to. But I think that there's a major shift.
Iraq to Korea, he led from the front. Now he lifts others, never just stunts. Hoy es mentor, líder, amigo.
¿Qué pasa, mi gente? Hey, welcome to the Motivated Mindset with Jose Flores. I am your host, Jose Antonio Flores. We're going to keep it simple. Bronx born, Brooklyn raised, proud Latino who learned early that struggle can either break you or build you up. I'm an Army veteran, retired senior NCO. I'm a mediator, advocate, transformational leader. And before we get rolling, mi gente, today is Armed Forces Day, a day dedicated to honoring the brave men and women currently serving in every branch of the United States military, along with those who have worn the uniform with pride and sacrifice. So I want to send a powerful salute to all my veteran, active duty, service members, National Guard, reservists, and most important, military families and first responders listening today. Mucho respeto. And you already know, I'm also for the month of May, we proudly recognize Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. It's a time to celebrate the rich cultures, histories, resilience, and achievements, contributions of Asian and American and Pacific Islanders community across our nation. It's a reminder that diversity, culture, perseverance, and the strength of our shared human stories continue to shape and strengthen America every single day. Todo día, mi gente. I've dedicated my life serving others through leadership, compassion, resilience, and purpose. I grew up in New York City. How you doing? Understanding that life does not hand you anything easy, mi gente, from humble beginnings to leading soldiers in peace and war. For more than 30 years in the United States Army, that's what I did. I learned that true leadership is never just about authority. It's about corazón. It's about heart. It's about showing up for people when life is heavy. It's about discipline, accountability, compassion, and never quitting on yourself or the people counting on you. After the military, my mission continued through the civil service as an EEO director, certified mediator, and helping people navigate discrimination, conflict, and some of the most difficult moments of their professional lives with dignity and fairness. Because behind every title, every rank, every struggle, there is still a human being trying to be seen, heard, and respected. That same calling led me to continue serving veterans, volunteering in my community, supporting organizations like the Wounded Warrior Project, Team Red, White, and Blue, and eventually becoming an end-of-life death doula, helping individuals transition with dignity, peace, and compassion during life's most sacred moments. And through every chapter of my journey, one thing became clear. Your pain doesn't have to become your prison. Your setbacks do not define your future, and your purpose does not expire because life knocks you down, mi gente. The motivational mindset is more than motivation. This is about transformation. This is a place for real conversations about leadership, healing, resilience, right? Faith, growth, culture, right? Mindset, and discovering who you truly were created to become, whether you are rebuilding your life, leading a team, fighting through adversities, searching for purpose, or simply trying to become a better version of yourself. You belong here. Okay? Because where I come from in the Bronx, Brooklyn, we learn how to survive, but through faith, growth, and purpose, we also learn to lead, heal, and inspire others. So, my friends, coge una silla, take a seat. How you doing? Abre la mente, open your mind, feed your soul, and let's grow together. You know what I'm saying? Stay frosty, stay motivated, and never forget that your story still has purpose, mi gente, always. You know, and one last thing before we start about today's conversation, right? If it challenges you to grow, right? If you find that what we're talking about is you know, is something that you can relate to in your own life, then I invite you to become a part of the community, como dicen, right? Become part of the community, you know, because this is created for people who are trying to go through their life, not just go through it. You know, we have real conversations, we have real struggles, we have real purpose. So if you believe in the conversation that inspire people to lead better, heal, think deeper, live with intention, help us keep this mission growing. Hit that button, scan that right there, subscribe to the channel, and share this episode, mi gente. Share it with somebody who may need this message today, because you never know who's fighting that silent battle. And sometimes one conversation can change a life. You know what I'm saying? Let me see if I got this. Where we at? Go in the comments. I think I can put it right in here. Bam. Let me see. Yep, I just put it in the comment section. Let me make sure it goes. That's the YouTube channel. You know, hey, that's how we grow. That's how we keep conversations going. You know what I'm saying? So if you can do it, it's all good. You know what I'm saying? Because we're here to support. Okay, mi gente. Let's talk about today's guest. Yay! Thank you very much. Today's guest is someone whose work and leadership truly aligns with the heart of what the Motivated Mindset is all about, with purpose, transformation, compassionate leadership, and creating meaningful impact in the lives of others. Joining us today is Malie Phonpadith, a sought-after keynote speaker, TEDx speaker, best-selling author, thought leadership, right, and founding CEO of the SOAR Community Network. For more than 20 years, Malie has helped organizations, executives, and leaders build stronger cultures, develop compassionate leadership, and create collaborative workplaces. A donde gente, where people and purpose can truly thrive through her work and leadership development, executive coaching, strategic culture transformation, and organizational growth. She has become a trusted voice for leaders navigating change, complexity, and high-stakes responsibility. What makes her story even more powerful is the journey behind the success. As a refugee, entrepreneur, executive and advisor, and culture architect, she brings being authentic, resilience, and human connection, mi gente, that deeply resonates with audiences across the public, private and nonprofit sectors. Her message goes beyond business. It's about leading with clarity, compassion, courage, and intention, while never losing sight of the human side of leadership. Today, we're going to talk about leadership. We're going to talk about culture. We're going to talk about resilience, purpose-driven impact, and what truly it means to create environments where people feel seen, valued, empowered, and inspired to grow, mi gente. ¿Tú entiendes lo que te digo? Get ready for a powerful conversation. Por favor, welcome my guest. Let's do the thing that I be doing up in here, and then we're going to kick this off. Yay!
The interview of the week is brought to you by Jersey Mike's, a sub above.
Welcome. Oh my God, welcome, ma'am. Thank you for being here, Malie. Thank you. Oh, let me see. I can't hear you. It's okay. We get these things. Can you hear me? Okay. And we're trying to get some time. There we go. Welcome to the show, ma'am. Thank you. Oh my goodness. We're having some tech. I don't know why it's not working right now, but that's okay. I can't hear you, but that's all right. Don't know. It happens sometimes. We get these technical difficulties sometimes. Let's see. How about now? No, not yet. No, no, that's okay. We'll try to work these things. Oh my goodness. I don't know why it's not working. Make sure. No, it's not on there. It's not. No, we're going to keep moving it. Oh my goodness. Let's see what we got. Nothing yet? Let's see. Can you speak? I see your mic is off. It's still on mute.
Now can you hear me?
Hey, we're good. Thank you.
There's something going
Welcome.
on with picking up the
Welcome.
phone. Thank you so much for having me, Jose. I'm so grateful to be here.
Oh, I am so, oh my goodness. This is awesome. Like I said, I've read everything on your websites and everything. And you know, first and foremost, gracias for being here, you know, for joining the Motivated Mindset, because your journey is powerful, you know, inspiring. But you know, like I said before, those titles and other, who are you? People want to know. Use my lead.
Con placer. Thank you so much for inviting me. Thank you for your team for reaching out. And again, your story is amazing as well. So I think we're going to be learning a lot from each other today.
And where you're from? Yes, ma'am.
Of course. So again, Mali Phonpadith. I am the founder and CEO of SOAR Community Network. Before all of that, I was a child refugee of war coming here with my family from war-torn Laos. I am aging myself here, but I was a baby back then, and really just learned how to navigate life in the United States of America. There were so many lessons along the way as a young child that I learned. I learned a lot about compassionate leadership, because I often wondered why people from across the world would see the opportunity as a positive thing to sponsor our family from the refugee camps to come here to the United States. And that kind of experience, or those types of experiences, they always kind of create a print, you know, on your heart. And so part of the work that we do now today was rooted in that journey of learning that there are compassionate souls out there in the world who care deeply beyond themselves. So yeah, that was really the journey from way early on in my life, and coming to the US has been really interesting. You know, you grow up and you parent your parent, and you become an adult real quick, and you really don't know what it feels like to live in abundance mentality, and to feel free, and to feel joy, like genuine joy, because you're always stressed and you're always worried. So I had to do a lot of that unlearning when I got older. So it's a little taste of my background.
No, that's stupendous. And we got another background. Hey, your Latino roots too. Talk to me up in here. Oh, Tiguerito. We both talk Spanish. Well, you talk more than I do, but let's talk about that too. That is so important. About you speak Spanish and other languages.
In high school, or actually in high school, we had the opportunity to decide if we wanted to learn a foreign language. And back then it was called FLEX, Foreign Language Exchange. And I decided that I wanted to study Spanish. Now, my father being from Laos, and it was colonized by the French a long time ago, so he spoke some French, and he asked me, well, why don't you learn French? And when I was a young girl, I always had it in my heart that there were two things to get us out of poverty. One was education. So I definitely became a nerd and straight A student and top of my class. And the other thing was entrepreneurship. I think 7 or 8 years old, I kind of had it in my heart to really figure out what it was going to take for me to one day own my own business. And so that kind of, you know, made me really think about the journey. What was my focus, right? How was I going to make that happen? And so the Spanish part is really about, my dad said, well, I think French is a good option. And I said, well, if I want to own my own business and travel the world one day, there are over 20 countries that speak Spanish. I have more options. So that's the story of how I learned Spanish. I learned it all the way through high school. I went to college and I studied Spanish. I got a degree in Spanish. And I didn't know this was going to happen. But eventually, many moons later, I didn't know that I would actually be using it more often. And I ended up marrying a Puerto Rican man. So there you go.
Oh my goodness. So you speak proper Spanish. You went to school. You know, I've been speaking that Spanglish. Like, you know, when I meet Puerto Ricans from the alley, mira porque tú sabes, el Rufo and la guagua, like I said, they're like, what? What are you saying? And I'm like, what you mean? You know, so I truly know. Thank you so much. And how is that with all those things? How is that, especially for this month, as we celebrate, you know, Asian Pacific Hawaiian Island. How impactful is that with who you are and the way that you run your company?
Just from a human level, I think it's so important that we understand and know where we come from. I think just every human being needs to feel like they have an understanding of their history, their culture, their heritage, who their ancestors were, even if we can't put a name to them, right? Like what we're made of. And being Asian American, being Lao American, I take a lot of pride in that. When I was younger, it was very hard to navigate the neighborhoods that we lived in. You know, we landed in Southeast DC when it's not as beautiful as it is now.
Right.
What's considered, quote unquote, the rhetoric was capital of the world back then. And it was really difficult because not many people look like us, and, you know, getting bullied and all of that, navigating all of that was very difficult. So you go through that and you really think about, you know, how do you get out of those zip codes, right? You end up a lot of times focusing on, you know, daydreaming about things, right? Wondering what life would be like if you weren't scared all the time, right? And so, you know, that's a part of it, Jose. That's a part of it, right? Being able to understand where you came from, being Asian, also navigating the sense of belonging. How do you know? How do you feel belonging when there's not a lot of people that look like you or understand your plight? And so that was difficult as a young person.
Wow. No, I can relate to that. I know when I first joined the military, there was back then when I had a DA, how you doing? Take you out. Right now, you know, I ain't got no hair. But it was crazy because the African Americans would look at me and say, yeah, you know, you got big lips, but you don't look like us, you know. And then the other people who were from Puerto Rico say his English is too well. And it wasn't until I found people from New York or people who were more like me that can relate to me. But for a minute, I felt like an outlier. Like, who am I? Trying to find who I am, you know. So I can relate, you know. And with everything you tell me, you've become like like a bridge builder across communities with this. And you know, when did you realize your purpose was, bigger than yourself? Like that was there a moment for you?
Oh my gosh. Honestly, I think it came with me, but I think the external forces, meaning life and fear, really had you focus on just getting through the next day, helping your family get through the next day. What I did recognize was that after a lot of painful experiences in my life, I won't go into all the details because it could take 3 hours.
Yeah, I only got so much long.
There was a lot of pain in my life that I've had to overcome and navigate. One example was when I was 27, I was engaged to be married, and 3 months before our wedding, my then fiance passed away, jumping into the Potomac River to save 5 drowning boys.
Oh my
and
goodness.
he was able to help others save 4 of the 5. And so we lost 2 people that day. That was a very difficult experience, as you can imagine. My whole world was just turned upside down. Everything that I had planned up to that point, I was able to manifest. And then when that type of painful experience happens, it just kind of shifts the way you think about life. You know, do you want to be so stringent and plan everything and not live? And so that experience really, honestly, I say this often, it sounds really strange, but that death brought me to life, meaning I saw how valuable life is, how much time we have, we don't know. We talked a little bit about this offline, Jose.
Yes, ma'am.
And I had a best friend who committed suicide, and that is, you know, we talked a lot about that epidemic right now as well, offline. And so those types of things were very difficult to overcome. And I think that when you go through those traumatic experiences, there's one of 2 ways you can go, right? You can decide to just give it all up and stay in the dark and you know, basically run away from life, or you can heal, which is very difficult to do. You can go through the journey of healing, I should say. You should go through the journey of grief and then decide every day to take 1 step at a time and move forward, even if you can't see the light in the dark tunnel. And it takes a lot of discipline. It takes a lot of belief in oneself. It also takes a lot of support from others, which some of us, I had a hard time asking for, to be able to overcome those things. So, you know, it's interesting when we think about the pains in our life, that gifts come out of the painful moments as well.
No, I can relate to that, you know, especially when you don't know how to deal with the pain. How do you go? And I can relate. I have PTSD. So when I was dealing with stuff, some of us, I did self-medicate, because knowing that even when you're drinking, that's not going to take away the pain, you know, and then you learn through it. And then finally I had to say, hey, I need some help. I need help. And I've been very fortunate to have a really good support system. And that makes a big difference. Like you said, Malik, just having that. Somebody said, we had a LinkedIn user that said, Wepa, this is from earlier. Wepa, oh, thinking, that's right. And we have another LinkedIn user, Victor Cordat Narzado, that said, I know what you're saying. I don't know if he was saying it when I was, you know, saying nobody was out there. So, you know, and if you know somebody, Malik, you can do a shout out.
No, I mean, I will say this is so hilarious. The person we picked on is actually Victor Coronazaro es mi marido. That's mi esposo.
Look at that!
Victor, hola, gracias.
Gracias, Victor. ¿Qué pasa, hermano? All right. And we have a question from a LinkedIn user that says, how has your Lao heritage influenced the way you lead, collaborate, and build community?
Oh, that's a great question. You know, I really modeled the lessons that my parents taught me. They were very patient. They helped me many times. And I say me, but I really mean us, my siblings, our family. They had it really tough. You know, they were working 2 or 3 jobs trying to make ends meet. And I do have to say this because I'm always very proud. It took my parents only 7 years. Father as a janitor, mother as a dishwasher at a bakery first, and then a hotel housekeeper. Wow. 7 years to save $20,000 to buy a home in the U.S. And so, you know, that's the stuff that I'm made of. But I would say that they helped me a lot to reframe our experiences. Mm-hmm. You know, it was tough. We didn't have a lot of money, but my father always helped us to, even when we were shopping at thrift stores, he would play games with us and say, hey, today you're only going to go and look for I think it was the orange tags. We didn't know it then, but the orange tags were least expensive. But he created an experience. My grandmother lived with us. They created that experience. Culturally being Lao, they taught us to be humble. And that was a positive thing early on. And then I had to unlearn some of that when I became an executive, because I had to learn how to stand up for myself, have a voice, right, to be able to advocate for oneself. And so there was a balance of learning culturally what humility is, and then balance that with making sure that your voice gets heard. Also, they took us to the temple so that we can really have the rituals that can connect us to our culture. They taught us to treat everyone as our neighbors, to give and not just take. And so those are some of the cultural things being Lao. I also learned of a heritage or organization, a cultural organization, and I started to get on the board of that organization so I can stay connected to the culture from the arts perspective. So those are some of the examples. But it also, in terms of how it translates to leadership, those lessons of humility, but at the same advocating for your voice, watching my parents having all the good qualities and great qualities of being great and passionate leaders, but then also watching the other side of them being taken advantage of, was an opportunity for me to also learn how to, for myself first, balance that, and then be able to teach that to other leaders.
Wow, amazing. We had a comment from Zuli that said, she said 100%. Yeah, absolutely. And she also said, before we get to the question, humble beginnings teach us so much, in my opinion. So true. So true. And let me see. We have a question from a LinkedIn user. And the question is, what practices or mindsets help you heal, rebuild, and step into your power after adversity?
This one was really hard for me. It was hard for me to go seek therapy because my parents never talked about it. Not that they didn't want to, they just didn't know how to navigate this. My father was also captured and sent to a re-education camp during the whole, civil unrest in Laos. So he was just not in the position to help us with that. So when I lost my late fiance, and then I had all the other losses, including my father, to a 3-week battle with cancer, it was difficult, but I had to get help. So I sought therapy, I sought group therapy. And then I also learned after a couple of years of going through that, I really didn't want that to be a crutch. So I learned other modalities. I learned EFT, emotional freedom technique, where you take your fingertips and you basically tap in the different meridian points to unlock the stress and the pain with your own fingertips. So think about it as acupuncture without the needles, with your fingertips. EFT, emotional freedom technique. Meditation. I don't do this consistently now, but my grandmother used to taught me some breathing techniques and meditation techniques when I was little, and that kind of carried me through. And deep breathing. I've learned through the years that sighing and taking in extra oxygen gives you a moment of pause. That's really helped me a lot. And I've done a lot of writing. So you find things that resonate with your soul and help you feel connected and free to explore and to express yourself. It could be writing like me with poetry and music. It could be dancing. It could be gardening. But you have to find something, a modality that works, that's uniquely for you, that works for you, so that you can remember to ground yourself in those moments when it's just unbearable.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think we talked offline. I can speak about veterans that once they retire, when they're going through pain, they do nothing. They just sit at home and it just builds up because, one, they don't want to ask for help, or they don't know how to deal with it, And, when you talked about the family, like, my family, when we talk about mental health issues, we never wanted to talk about it, It's like, I don't know, taboo, whatever. And it was just, hey, suck it up. You're, in my case, you're a man, don't worry about it, and it was like, all right, Dad. But then that comes out like Pandora's box later on in life, right? So we're going to, before we have another question, we're going to take a 1-minute commercial break, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about SOAR and your stuff. We'll hit that. This is really short. Let me see. Where is it? I got it right where she's at. Right here. Here we go.
Let me ask you something. Are you constantly dealing with cravings? Feeling like your energy is low all day? Struggling with low metabolism? Or feeling like stress and cortisol is working against you? And no matter what you try, nothing seems to stick. I'm Coach Coco, and I help women and men aged 35 to 65 take control of their body, take it right back, and we are taking it back naturally. I work with Bye Bye Belly, using powerful plant-based support like our Snatch Juices, Get Snatch Tea, and our Power Shots, to name a few. These amazing products helps to suppress your appetite, stop those cravings, boost your energy, and get your body working like it's supposed to again. But here's what really makes the difference. You're not doing it alone. I guide you, I support you, and I keep you consistent, because that's where the real results come from. So if you're tired of starting over and you're ready to finally feel like yourself again, guess what? I got you. This is the Wellness Mindset. And if you are watching this on Motivated Mindset, say Wellness Mindset when you reach out. I got you. Let's get you back to being you.
Hey, that was stupendous. I'll guess what I'll do her next week. But we had to, before we go into that, we had some questions. Lakeisha says, Coach Lakeisha, therapy can be such a gift to oneself.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. And you had mentioned something, and I think Zuli had mentioned something about humble beginnings or experiences. I always say that even though all of us go through very difficult times in life, sometimes, again, it feels just so impossible to get to the other side, to feel any sense of hope or joy again. And what I've learned through the years is all of those experiences over time, when we can get over the hurdle, it's kind of like building our empathy bucket so deep and so wide that we can just about help anybody, relate to anybody. And I think that is such a gift to be able to take that pain, to be able to take those experiences when we've kind of moved forward and they don't feel so raw, that we understand also that there are always lessons that not only can help you move forward, but those can really serve others as well.
Absolutely. Zuli has another question. She's awesome, by the way. Zuli's awesome. And her question is, you have such an amazing story of resilience. Do you have a book? If not, I think you should.
Thank you, Zuli. I do have a book. I have a memoir. I do have to make the second edition because my husband's not even in the first edition. But it's called A Million Fireflies. I wrote it many, many moons ago, and it really it helps to share my family's, my parents' journey through my voice, through my eyes, leaving Laos, and then how my life kind of evolved here in the United States, how I learned to navigate. Funny stories like, because I grew up in Southeast DC and then moved to Marble Heights right outside of DC, when other little girls wanted to look like blonde and blue eyes, I actually wanted to fit in, and I wanted to have curly hair, I wanted to be dark, I wanted to, to the Black community. Yes. Where I pretty much grew up. And so it's capturing all these interesting moments of our lives that nobody really sees. When you read my bio. Nobody knows what it took to get here, or the funny moments and the painful but triumphant moments that it took to be in a position to even be blessed to be on a podcast like yours.
No, thank you, ma'am. No, I'm blessed to have you. Please, thank you. But you're right. I remember as a young person trying to fit in, trying to get acceptance, even when it was wrong. I said, I don't care. I just want to be part of something, in the group, and that peer pressure, and just, it's challenging. I can relate a little bit to it, But we have another question. Look what Zuli said, because I got to show. Zuli says, awesome. I'm going to look for it. Zuli, are we going to be showing one of them, Mali, when I showed you? Is it going to be on it? You're going to see it, Zuli. We got you. We got your 6. All right. And here's another question. And the question comes from a LinkedIn user. What is the one mindset shift that changed everything for you as an entrepreneur?
I would say, as an entrepreneur, one mindset shift is our ideas are unique and valuable. If you thought it up, it can be of service to somebody else, right? You don't have to compare your ideas to anybody else's great ideas. The fact that that idea came from you, through you, is enough to say that it's brilliant. And it's worthy of taking a closer look to see if you can build something great from that idea.
Cool beans. So I have a question. So what does SOAR stand for, and what inspired you to create the SOAR Community Network?
Well, SOAR, originally when I launched the company, SOAR stands for See, Own, Articulate, and Release your unique message and mission into the world. And when I launched the company over 15 years ago now, I served solopreneurs, independent people, micro businesses. So it was really about helping them map their purpose, their why, and uncover what they could be doing either career-wise or as a business that is authentically there. So it originated from See, Own, Articulate, and Release. As our company evolved and grew, we started to serve not just the individual owners, but also now their teams, their staff, their employees. And now SOAR means making sure that your team, your organization truly can soar to accomplish the mission that you set forth with a team that actually collaborates well, innovates together, and has really effective communication to do that.
Would that be like, so if somebody said, what does a truly healthy organizational culture look like and feel like to you? that would be some of the elements that would be needed.
Yes, many years ago, our executive team sat down and said, well, what makes us unique and different from any other organizational development company out there, coach or consultant? And it wasn't really about the competition part of it. Mm-hmm. It was more about how do you create something that has a methodology that we can actually expand and grow and make sustainable. Mm-hmm. And so we built a framework, a methodology called C3. And within that framework, what is really important to us is that our clients understand the value of empathy and compassion. Mm-hmm. The first C is compassion. So our work, our programs, our workshops, our retreats, they're really rooted in making sure that every leader, regardless of their title, and we believe every employee is a leader, by the way, that's really important, that they actually understand, learn the foundations of empathy and compassion. Yes. So we teach compassionate leadership. The second C is how do you take that individual now and help foster the team? How do you take all of that learning that an individual learns and also support the team learning? So talent development is really key for us. And how do you build cohesive yet high performing? So it's not just kumbaya, we feel great today, but how are your activities, your working relationships really driving results to be high performing? And then the third C is fostering collaboration across the organization, across all leadership levels, so that people really are feeling less siloed and have real opportunities for the organizations to understand and to walk toward their North Star, accomplish their mission together.
No, that is awesome. And I know you've also worked with universities and created leadership programs. And do you have any concerns for the next generation?
I have concerns for all generations. The next generation, I think I want to give them credit too. Our younger generation, there are so many brilliant things that they know that we don't know, that they understand that we don't understand. So I want to make sure that we also lift them up for all the brilliance that they bring forth to us. And also, there's a lot of wisdom in our generation and older that can support them. For instance, a lot of the social skills, because we did go through COVID, which was a global challenge for our young ones to be able to have interactions, to go beyond the computer screen or their phones. And so one of the mission that we piloted a program at Wake Forest University where we not only taught leadership skills, but we also embedded character development, which included critical thinking skills, effective communication, emotional intelligence. We taught them things like social capital, making sure they understand how to build relationships and network the right way, and make sure that they understand even their value sets. So yes, we have the leadership skills, but before the leadership skills, we have to have basic human skills. How do you be a good human?
No, absolutely. And we got Yvette with a question. And she said, Jose, many people may not know this, but Mali has been recognized by Oprah Winfrey OWN Network Belief Initiative. Mali, how did that experience influence your mission or visibility? Thank you, Yvette.
Oh, Yvette, thank you so much. So many moons ago, I do have to give credit where credit is due. I met this beautiful soul. Her name is Dr. Sister Jenna of the Meditation Museum. It was through her relationship with Oprah and the Oprah Winfrey Network where she invited us to become a part of this belief team initiative. So they hand-selected several organizations. Some of them were churches and nonprofits and businesses, and offered up the opportunity to join this belief team initiative where we can talk about belief and spirituality, regardless of religious affiliation, and bring people together. So that's how we got affiliated with the OWN Network, through that initiative.
That is stupendous. That's awesome. And ladies and gentlemen, keep them questions coming. But we're going to talk about, show the slides. How can people get a hold of you as we move forward. And that's one of the websites, right? Malie, you can tell them about that website on the bottom.
Absolutely. Yes. It's very easy to, first of all, find me because I don't think there's another Malie Phonpadith.
Phonpadith, you're right. You're right.
I'd love to sit down with her and learn how her life's going. But Malie Phonpadith, you can Google my name. My website is SOARCommunitynetwork.com. The link below also takes you to a landing page where you can see my expanded bio, my speaking topics. And those speaking topics are all formatted to also be workshops and retreats where some of our coaches and facilitators can support organizational leaders through some of those programs. Mm-hmm. So yes, and we've really focused on, again, what we lovingly call human development. So development, talent strategy, executive coaching, and also supporting everyone, individual contributors, to really help them understand their own value and worth, how to advocate for themselves, how to learn a little bit more about conflict resolution, how to communicate effectively with one another, and how to lead with empathy and compassion. See each other as human beings and not just workers and colleagues.
Yes. Want me to go to the next slide, ma'am?
Yes, please.
Right.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
And, you asked me to share this here, why work with us? Well, there's a lot of organizations out there you can choose from. And we are proud to say that we work as a consortium model. So there are lots of experts that we trust as well. And so if our solutions are not the right solution for you, we have an entire network of brilliant business advisors, coaches, as well as facilitators who we can bring to the table for you. So, it's a one-stop shop. If you are an executive coach, a facilitator, or an organization similar to ours, we really don't want to see you as competition. There's so much work out there in the world globally. There's a lot of need for leadership development, for workforce development. So we should partner up and be teaming up together. So that's why you work with us. We are open. We want to make change happen. We want to transform lots of organization and lots of lives. These are some areas that we focus on. We have programs that really help the organization do strategic planning, or purpose mapping, we call it. And we also have programs where even your individual contributors, everyone in the organization, can take courses that we've created. Our mapping process is available so that they can also understand what is mine to do, what is their personal purpose in life, and how does that actually align with the organization that they work for and they support. Employee experience, making sure we're getting a pulse of the entire organization. How are people really feeling? There's oftentimes a disconnect between what a manager thinks that's happening
Yeah.
what employees are actually feeling. And so being able to help bridge that. And make sure that, we're supporting a strategy that really supports every level of leadership. Behavioral insights. It's big deal for us to bring behavioral science to the mix. We work with a lot, and this, Jose, we've had opportunities to work with HUD and FAA. So we also have a lot of engineering firms we support, a lot of financial folks we support, logic-minded analytical brains. So we bring the science because we want the data to create the transformation. We don't want to have to convince you of the science. And that's really important in terms of behavioral science. Talent optimization. How do you optimize your team? How do you make sure that the team dynamics is understood and that people understand each other's preferred work style, leadership style, so that they can work really well together? So a lot of team building that we do as well. And the list goes on. Executive coaching, for sure. We really, really believe in ongoing development. And there are some cost-effective ways to do that now, where it won't cost you millions and millions of dollars. If you're a large enterprise, and if you're a smaller enterprise, there are brilliant ways to make sure that everybody in the organization is getting developed. And there's ways that you can scale up as well as you grow. So, group coaching there and retreats and workshops. We have people all over, at this point, the globe now. We're speaking to coaches in Spain, Spanish speaking, multilingual, so that we can support the global need for effective leadership development.
It's funny because the LinkedIn uses se habla español, so don't be shy and connect with SOAR Community Network.
Gracias. Please do. We have plenty of folks who speak Spanish.
And that's what we're talking about, the mapping, that last slide.
The purpose, yeah, we do it already. You can skip through this, but it's really an opportunity if you're an individual or if you have a large or small team and you want the opportunity for every employee to kind of connect with what's mine to do, help them understand what is their purpose and mission in life. We have multiple purposes. We play different roles, but there's always an overarching theme. And if you as a leader can help your employees understand their own value and purpose in life and how that can align to their roles and responsibilities, it is life-changing. And it's also transformational for the organization.
Awesome. And I think we talked about some of this here too. Yes. Is this different?
Yes, it is. We did talk about this, and you can find all of this on our website. You know, we want to make sure that we're not just looking at the individual or a smaller team. We're looking at the whole organization. And if it's a large organization, it doesn't happen overnight. Mm-hmm. We want to pilot programs. We want to collect data. We want to make sure that we test it. And then we empower your own internal teams, whether it's your chief people officer or your HR, your chief HR person, or a team that focuses on employee experience. We actually want to empower that internal team to use our model so that you don't have to rely on us year in and year out to outsource the whole thing. And if you're a smaller firm, there are programs for you as well to make sure that foundationally you are thinking about culture and ongoing people and talent development from the very beginning of your growth stage.
That's awesome. Awesome.
Yes, and again, this is great. Thank you so much for finding all this. This is a nice surprise, but we have tons and tons of articles and free resources available to anybody that wants them. And for our clients, they actually have access to our client portal 24/7 for any type of templates that they're looking for. If you care about people and you see people as, you know, the most important asset you can have as an organization, then we're the hub for you.
And Mali, I did read some of that. It was really good information. Okay. I was like, wow, this is stupendous. This is really good.
Yes, we try to make sure that it's not just theoretical, but
right.
With action steps, samples, benchmarks, and activities that you can try with your team.
Because when I was in the military, we would have a leader book. And in that leader book, you would have everything. I mean, from the shoe size to like regulations and things. So this would be great reading for leaders, especially new leaders.
Yes. We definitely want the new leaders, the emerging leaders to feel that these resources are available to you. You don't have to know everything. That's part of living. That's part of, you know, some of the what we call small F's and failures are really valuable. You're gonna mess up. But it's really about how do you learn from those mistakes or those challenges and move forward in a very productive way, but also then become a mentor to others.
Yes, absolutely. Zuli.
Yes, there we go. So Zuli, especially for you, this is In Fireflies. This is the memoir that I wrote many moons ago. You can find it on Amazon and Barnes and Nobles. And then I've also have been blessed to collaborate with other authors and co-written international best-selling books, one of them being The Balancing Act. So this is a collection of brilliant women around the world sharing the balancing act that we have as women in life, in work, in business, in life, in society. So those are examples of books that I've been able to author. Born to Be Me is another international best-selling book that I was involved with. And this one is really raw. It takes the journey of these beautiful women and tells us the truth about our journeys. It's not always pretty, and talks a lot about resilience and gives you real practical tools to help you move forward in life. And then another example is Namaste. So there's a few books out there, over 5 books I've authored, but the memoir is A Million Fireflies.
Yeah. Oh, and how can people connect with you?
Yes, like I said, you can Google my name, but I'm definitely on Instagram. My Facebook actually was hacked like the first year after COVID. And so I had to start all of my social profiles over. So you can now find me on Instagram, and LinkedIn I use a lot as well. So feel free to connect with me, please.
There's our LinkedIn page, ladies and gentlemen.
LinkedIn, yes.
Yeah. And last page. You can...
Absolutely. So feel free to connect with me. I'll go ahead and give you my email address. It's Mali, M-A-L-I, at SOARCommunityNetwork.com. But you also have my direct phone and our office phone here as well. So if you don't need to speak with me, but you have questions about our offerings and you want to talk to one of our team members, you can certainly call our office and let us know what you're interested in. And you can always also send an email to info@SOARCommunityNetwork.com.
Absolutely. We have a question from one of my veteran brothers. Yes. DeMarco. Tony, he says, what has been the biggest challenge dealing with new leaders?
I think the biggest challenge with new leaders is making sure that they have the resources that they need to truly thrive. Sometimes when you've been in leadership for a long time, we take for granted the things we didn't know when we were first newly promoted. And so we expect some of our newer leaders, our emerging leaders, to get it right the first or second time, or to even know some of the terminology that we've learned as we climb the corporate ladder. As in my case, as I became an entrepreneur, sometimes I work with new entrepreneurs, startups, and sometimes it's pro bono and sometimes it's an engagement. And I have to remember that I'm 15 years. And by the way, before launching SOAR, I had a financial practice for 7 years. So 20 plus years of running a business. And so I have to remind myself that the terminology, the wisdom that I've gathered through the years, I have to make sure that I help them start fresh, or that I don't take for granted the things that they may feel intimidated to ask about.
And we'll take one last question. It is from a LinkedIn user. And their question is, this is a great conversation. Looking back, what's something you wish your younger self knew?
That I am perfectly imperfect, that it's enough. I don't have to seek approval from everybody else, that I am worthy, that I am special, that I belong.
Yes.
If I could go back and just love on her more, it would have saved me years of insecurity and self-doubt. I probably would have launched my business sooner. And so, yeah, a lot of it is just loving that younger self and making sure that they feel safe and protected and that you've got them now. And that work actually happens up to this day, no matter what your age is, to be able to have conversations with that younger self on a daily basis, because those tantrums come up from somewhere.
They do.
And it's just, look in the mirror, you see your little self having the tantrum, and you've got to calm that little person down and let them know, I've got you.
Millie, I've been asked that question, and I know if I were to go back, I would just tell my younger self, just hang in there. It's gonna get better, because it was all those things, those failures, those mistakes. Oh my goodness, my first couple of years was a total financial waste, but oh my God, I had a good time. But that's a different story. But it was like, wow, but it was those things that I learned that made me who I am today. I would just say, Jose, hang in there, it's gonna get better. I know there's some things you wish you could, but that would be me. But as we come down to almost ending, Mali, I'm gonna leave the floor to you. Any last things, anything we didn't cover, anything you want to put out to somebody listening that may say, you know what, I'm in a place I don't know where to go, or business leader, anything before we close?
Well, I think there's a couple things that I want to share before I close. One, if you can dream it, it can happen. I know it sounds cliche, but if it's a dream of yours, you want to at least give yourself a chance, right? Seek input from others, ask for support, ask for resources, make sure that the dream becomes, at least you work toward actualizing your dream, so that you don't waste your life when you look back and you realize I didn't try, right? It's for you. Second thing I would say, when it was really hard for me, I would often say in the mirror, everything is as it should be, or it would be something else. Mm-hmm. And it sounds so simple, and you don't really have an answer, but that knowing, that understanding that if this is happening, and it has to be happening for a reason, because it would be happening to somebody else. And that's really helped me to just stay the course. Mm-hmm. And then through my grief, really what helped me was truly believing, like almost blind faith that one day it's got to get better. Because it can't stay dark forever.
So true.
Everything changes in life, including the dark spaces.
Yes, yes. You know, there's a saying, when you're going through hell, keep going. You know, so I can relate to that. Mali, thank you for all the information, for your love, your compassion, everything you've shared with us today. And ladies and gentlemen, please reach out. Once we get done, this will record. If you have any question, you can reach out to me. I got the contact information. And just thank you, Mali, just for being here, giving us I can feel it. You know, it's like, yeah, this is
for all my Lao and Thai folks out there, khop chai lai lai. And then just make sure that, you know, we know our value, we understand our worth, and we help others see that too. It is so important that every person understands how miraculous they are to even have an existence, how much it took for us to even be created.
Yes.
We are walking miracles. And I have to remind myself of that every day.
Well, gracias. Namaste. Gracias. Gracias, everybody. And before I let everybody go, our guest for next week is Coach Coco. And this was pre-recorded, but it'll still be next Saturday at the same time. You saw her commercial. She is stupendous. If you want to get into energy, she does it. She knows how to do it. And she's been helping women 35 plus. So please log in and check it out, and you don't want to miss this one. And again, Mali, thank you very much. Have a blessed weekend. Gracias por todo. Ladies and gentlemen, gracias, everybody. Yay. I really want to scream, but my dogs are right outside. I don't want them scared to be busting up.
Thank you, everyone.
Everybody have a good one. Gracias.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Military Broadcast Radio. As we wrap up today's show, we want to remind you that the podcast of today's episode will be available right after we go off the air. So if you missed any part of the show or want to listen again, be sure to check it out. And remember, we're here to support and honor our veterans. Your stories and experiences matter, and we are committed to giving you a platform to share them. That's right. We're here to give our veterans a voice. So don't forget to catch the podcast and stay connected with us. Giving our veterans a voice.